Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Today we will be exploring the top 5 facts about the immortal jellyfish. The immortal jellyfish is one of the most fascinating creatures that have ever been discovered. And the more we learn about this creature, the more we begin to understand how it is able to live forever. So without further ado, let's get started. Fact number 1, it can reverse age. The immortal jellyfish, also known as the Turritopsis dohrnii, is a tiny translucent sea creature that lives in the warm waters of the Mediterranean Sea and the oceans of the Eastern Pacific. This jellyfish is only about the size of a sesame seed when it is born, and it can live for up to 4 years before it reaches sexual maturity. When it reaches sexual maturity, it is about the size of a sesame seed. The life cycle of the immortal jellyfish is quite unusual because, unlike other species of jellyfish that die after reproducing once, the immortal jellyfish can reproduce many times over the course of its life. But the most amazing thing about this jellyfish is its ability to revert to its juvenile form after it has reached sexual maturity. This means that it can essentially rewind its life cycle and start over again. The process of reverting to a juvenile form is triggered by environmental stressors such as changes in temperature, salinity, or the availability of food. When these stressors occur, the mature immortal jellyfish undergoes a process called transdifferentiation, which is basically the process of turning one type of cell into another. In this case, the cells of the jellyfish's tentacles differentiate into polyps, which are the immature form of the jellyfish. These polyps then grow into new jellyfish, and the cycle starts all over again. This process of reversing the life cycle is what gives the immortal jellyfish its unique name. It literally seems like they are immortal because they never really die. They just keep on cycling through their life cycle over and over again. Fact number 2, it's technically biologically immortal. Although the immortal jellyfish is technically biologically immortal, it is not truly immortal. That's because it can still be killed by disease or predators. However, this jellyfish is extremely difficult to kill, and it is estimated that only 4% of immortal jellyfish populations are lost to predation each year. The other 96% of them survive, and scientists don't know exactly why they survive so long. One theory is that the immortal jellyfish's ability to revert to its juvenile form makes it less vulnerable to predators. After all, a predator would rather eat a full-grown jellyfish than a tiny polyp, right? Another theory is that the immortal jellyfish produces toxins that make it unappealing to predators. Whatever the reason, the immortal jellyfish is an extremely hardy creature, and it has been able to survive for millions of years. It was first discovered in the 1880s by a Portuguese zoologist named José Maria de Castro. He found it in the coastal waters of the Azores Islands. At the time, he didn't realize that it was a new species of jellyfish. He just thought it was a small, unassuming creature that didn't really deserve much attention. It was NT until 1908 that another Portuguese zoologist named Maria Eliza Neto described it in more detail and gave it the scientific name Turritopsis dohrnii. Even still, no one really paid much attention to it. It was only in the 1990s that a team of German marine biologists, led by Christian Sommer, realized that this little jellyfish had a very strange life cycle. They were the first to observe the immortal jellyfish reverting to its juvenile form, and they were absolutely baffled. They had never seen anything like it before. In fact, they were so baffled that they didn't believe what they were seeing. They thought they must have made a mistake somehow, but after observing it for weeks on end, they realized that they were actually witnessing something truly amazing. The German marine biologists published their findings in the journal Nature in 1995, and the world took notice. Suddenly, everyone wanted to study the immortal jellyfish, and it became one of the most famous animals in the world. To this day, we are still learning new things about the immortal jellyfish and its strange life cycle, and who knows what other secrets it might be holding on to. Fact number 4, it clones itself in the process. The immortal jellyfish does not reproduce in the traditional sense. It does not lay eggs or give birth to live young. Instead, it clones itself when it reproduces. This means that each new jellyfish is a genetic copy of the parent jellyfish. Now, you may be wondering why a jellyfish would want to clone itself. After all, wouldn't it be better to mix its genes with another jellyfish and create something new? Well, there are actually some advantages to cloning. For one thing, it is a very efficient way of reproducing. The immortal jellyfish doesn't need to find a mate in order to clone itself. It can just do it on its own. This is probably an advantage for a species that lives in a habitat where there are a lot of other jellyfish around. Another advantage of cloning is that it ensures that the offspring are genetically identical to the parent. This can be advantageous if the parent is well adapted to its environment. In that case, the offspring will also be well adapted and likely to survive. Of course, there are also some disadvantages to cloning. For one thing, it means that there is no genetic diversity in the population. This can be a problem if the environment changes in some way that makes it difficult for the jellyfish to survive. For example, if there is a sudden increase in the temperature of the water, the immortal jellyfish could end up dying off because it's not adapted to survive in warmer temperatures. But so far, it doesn't seem to be an issue. The immortal jellyfish has been around for millions of years, and it shows no signs of going extinct anytime soon. Fact number 5. Scientists are studying it for anti-aging research. As I mentioned earlier, the immortal jellyfish is a very hardy creature, and it is estimated that only 4% of immortal jellyfish populations are lost to predation each year. What's more, this jellyfish seems to be immune to most diseases, and it can withstand changes in salinity and temperature. That would kill other jellyfish. In addition to its incredible longevity, the immortal jellyfish also seems to be able to reverse age. As I mentioned earlier, when this jellyfish is stressed, it can revert to its juvenile form and start its life cycle all over again. This ability to reverse age has led scientists to start studying the immortal jellyfish in order to learn more about anti-aging. The idea is that by studying the immortal jellyfish, we may be able to learn how to extend the lifespan of humans. We may also be able to find ways to reverse age in humans, which would obviously be a huge breakthrough in the field of medicine. So far, scientists have not been able to find any genes that are responsible for the immortal jellyfish's ability to reverse age. However, they have found some genes that seem to be related to its longevity. The hope is that by studying these genes, we may be able to learn how to extend the lifespan of humans. The immortal jellyfish is a truly fascinating creature, and it seems almost alien-like in its abilities. While we have come a long way in our understanding of this jellyfish, there is still so much that we don't know. As we continue to learn more about the immortal jellyfish, we may be able to learn how to extend the lifespan of humans. We may also be able to find ways to reverse age in humans, which would obviously be a huge breakthrough in the field of medicine. Until then, the immortal jellyfish remains a mystery, a tiny creature that has managed to elude us for millions of years. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.